Congratulations on your purchase of a Rhino wet waste interceptor. This video program will show you how to properly install your unit. The installation of all Rhino wet waste interceptors, whether they're gravity, simplex, or duplex units, is a relatively easy task as long as some simple rules are followed. First, all Rhino units should be located as close as possible to the source of the wet waste. Secondly, know your local building and plumbing codes. Some municipalities require specific types of piping. While most municipalities accept ABS or PVC piping, others require copper piping for specific kinds of buildings. Selecting the correct piping prior to completing the installation will save time and money later on. Let's go through each installation type in order, and along the way you'll see there are elements common to each. Let's start with the gravity unit. True to its name, it works on the gravity principle and is designed to handle average amounts of wastewater you'd find in restaurants or residences. Before you begin any installation, find the location of the drain leading to the sewer or grease trap. If the level of the drain into which wastewater will flow from the Rhino is higher than the level on which the gravity unit will sit, you'll either have to elevate the Rhino so that wastewater exiting can follow the path of gravity and flow downwards into the drain or grease trap, or you will have to use a pump unit. There is one exception to this, where a gravity unit will do the job instead of a pump unit. If the drain line downstream of the P-trap is located behind a wall, it's still possible to use a gravity unit instead of a pump unit simply by knocking a hole in the wall behind the exit of the Rhino and installing a TY connector into the line and connecting it to the exit of the Rhino unit. Water exiting the gravity unit can then flow, by the process of gravity, directly into the drain line. Be sure and check how far the exit port of the gravity unit is away from the drain inlet point. Rhino manufacturers recommend that the gravity unit be elevated 1/4 inch for every 18 inches it sits away from the drain. Once you've got these measurements calculated, it's time to begin installation. Gravity unit. When installing a single gravity unit, connect to the sink outlet immediately downstream from the P-trap with an appropriate length of piping, and direct this piping toward the top inlet of the gravity unit. It is not necessary to locate the Rhino directly below the sink. If the sink outlet is too low to accommodate the unit, or if space requirements are too tight, locate the Rhino to the side of the P-trap, using whatever length of piping is required. In the installation kit, you'll find a top inlet connection, an inlet tightening ring, and 2 rubber inlet gaskets. Install these into the inlet port on top of the Rhino. 1 rubber gasket goes directly on top of the unit. Once it's in place, insert the inlet connection, reach inside with the second rubber gasket, slide it onto the inlet connection, and then install the inlet tightening ring counterclockwise and secure it firmly. The entry ports of all Rhino units are a standard 2 inches, so you may find you'll have to adapt the pipe leading from downstream of the P-trap so that it fits into the entry port on top of the unit. The exit port of the gravity unit, located at the rear of the reservoir, is also a standard 2 inches. Run 2-inch piping of an appropriate length from this exit port directly to the drain line and connect it. When connecting to the drain line, if the entry is larger or smaller than 2 inches, use an adapter and couplings to make it fit. Once you've got these connections completed, firmly secure the Rhino to its base with the 2 ground brackets in your kit. Now insert the strainer and a filtration membrane. Push up and rotate clockwise. Run water through the unit, checking along the way for leakage from the outlet downstream of the P-trap into the Rhino top inlet port, the connection exiting the Rhino at the back, and the connection into the drain connector that leads to the grease trap or the sewer. Congratulations! You've installed your first Rhino gravity unit. Now let's move on to the Rhino pump units. Rhino pump units. In many applications, grease traps or exit piping leading to outside sewers are located at higher levels than the level on which you'll be placing the Rhino. Since water can't flow upward without some force behind it, this installation will call for a pump unit. The size of that unit depends on how much wastewater is being handled. Rhino offers 2 units with integrated pump systems. The Simplex has one electric motor set into the top of the reservoir behind the main unit. This motor can pump approximately 13 gallons per minute to a lift of 4 feet. Rhino also offers the Duplex unit, similar to the Simplex, except it has 2 electric motors situated in the same location. The Duplex is designed for busier applications and can handle approximately 20 gallons of wastewater per minute to a lift of 4 feet. The initial installation steps for all pump units are exactly the same as they are for the gravity unit, with one exception. Since Rhino pump units are electrically run, be sure there's an electrical outlet suitable to receive the grounded attachment cap from the motor. This outlet should be installed to local electrical codes and be within 4 feet of the unit. Connect into the piping downstream from the P-trap and direct the pipe to the top inlet on the Rhino unit, making sure the fittings are tight and secure. Here's where the differences apply. At the rear of the Rhino unit, you will see the pump outlet pointing straight up. You'll need a 1-inch threaded plastic nipple. One end of the nipple is inserted into the pump outlet and secured with a 1-inch hose clamp. The threaded end of the nipple is screwed into a 1-inch to 1.5-inch female-to-male adapter, threaded to glued. Wrap the threaded joint with Teflon tape. 1.5-inch piping or larger, as required by site conditions, can then be extended to the building drain. Once you've got the exit line firmly connected, secure the pump unit to its base with the ground brackets in the same way you did with the gravity unit. Next, insert the strainer and a filtration membrane, then plug in the pump unit and test it. As soon as the pump unit is plugged in, the pump will automatically kick on for 20 seconds. Run water through the unit, making sure all connections are firmly secured and that there are no leaks. As soon as all wastewater has been pumped from the Rhino unit, the pump will automatically kick off. Whenever installing a pump unit, it's important to point out to your customer that the Rhino pump will automatically kick on for 20 seconds every hour, even when the Rhino is not in use. This is a built-in safety measure to ensure there's no gas buildup resulting from small amounts of wastewater left in the Rhino reservoir during kitchen downtimes. Combination installations. Rhino units, whether they're gravity or pump, have been designed to work in combination with each other, and the combination you use depends entirely on the needs of your customer. A gravity unit with a garbage disposal unit is one type of combination. There are also tandem installations that consist of 2 Rhino units situated side by side. These units can consist of 2 gravity units with piping leading downstream from the P-trap into the inlet ports of both units. Another tandem installation might be a gravity unit beside a pump unit. There are also combination installations that include a duplex unit attached to 2 or 3 gravity units. All of these installations are relatively easy to install, but for the purposes of this video, let's begin with the installation of a garbage disposal and gravity unit. Gravity unit with garbage disposal unit. Garbage disposal units that grind foods and deposit waste directly into grease traps or town or city sewer systems are illegal in many municipalities. However, when a garbage disposal unit is installed in combination with a Rhino, ecological problems disappear. First, install the garbage disposal unit according to instructions. Then attach proper-sized piping, sizes may vary according to the disposal unit you're using, from the exit on the side of the disposer, and direct it toward the 2-inch inlet port on top of the Rhino gravity unit. Installation of the Rhino gravity unit is exactly the same as you've just seen. Open the tap. Test the garbage disposal unit with some solids to ensure that waste is being collected in the filtration bag. Check there are no leaks and that wastewater is indeed exiting properly from the rear of the gravity unit reservoir. If everything checks out, your installation is complete. It's important to point out here that disposal units are not limited to working with the gravity unit alone. Waste can also be directed into a Rhino pump unit if required. Now let's move on to the installation process for a tandem gravity and simplex unit. Gravity simplex tandem installation. The combination of gravity and simplex Rhino units in tandem is effective for a wide range of commercial or residential applications where the drain line leading to the grease trap is higher than the level on which the Rhinos will sit. In this installation, wastewater collected in the reservoir of the gravity unit will be directed to the reservoir of the simplex unit, which sits alongside. Wastewater collected by both units will then be pumped into lines leading to the grease trap or the outside sewer. Before beginning this particular installation, be sure you're familiar with municipal plumbing codes that require venting lines, and also make sure there's an electrical outlet suitable to receive the grounded attachment cap from the motor. This outlet should be installed to local electrical codes and within 4 feet of the unit. Your first step is to decide on the location of both units and position them side by side. Depending on which direction wastewater from the gravity unit will be flowing to the pump unit, drill out the dimple on that side of the pump reservoir to 2 5/8 inches and install a bulkhead fitting. Wrap the fitting with Teflon tape. The initial installation steps for both units are relatively the same as the installation of a single gravity unit, which you've seen earlier. There are a few minor differences. After you've connected into the sink outlet immediately downstream from the P-trap, direct the piping toward both inlet ports. First to the gravity unit, making sure the top inlet connections are securely in place. Then with a TY connector, direct another length of piping toward the pump unit entry port, again securing all inlet connections. When done this way, wastewater from the sinks will flow into both units. Next, run the piping from the exit port of the gravity unit into the side of the pump reservoir. Glue an appropriate length of pipe into the connector to ensure proper spacing between the two Rhino units. First, connect a threaded female connector to the bulk fitting after wrapping the threads with Teflon tape. Then use rubber MJ connectors and one ABS street 90-degree angle to finish all other connections. Always make sure that all fittings are securely fastened. On top of the pump, you'll see a pump outlet pointing straight up. You'll need a 1-inch threaded plastic nipple. The end of the nipple is inserted into the pump outlet and secured with a 1-inch hose clamp. The threaded end of the nipple is screwed into a 1-inch to 1.5-inch female-to-male adapter threaded to glued. Wrap with Teflon tape. 1.5-inch piping or larger, as required by site conditions, can then be extended to the building drain. Once you've got the exit lines securely connected to both the gravity and simplex units, secure both the units to their positions using ground brackets. Set strainers into both units and insert filtration membranes. Now plug in and run a test. Again, you'll hear the pump unit kick on automatically for 20 seconds. Open the taps on the sink. Wastewater will flow into both units. While water is running through, recheck all your connections for leaks. When water is turned off and wastewater has exited, the pump will automatically shut off. Rhino duplex with multiple gravity units. Busy commercial establishments such as restaurants, hairdressing salons, or hospitals often use greater amounts of water, with greater numbers of sinks, and often for longer periods of time. That's where the Rhino duplex with multiple gravity units come in very handy. Install each gravity unit as well as the duplex in the same way you've just seen. At the exit ports of each gravity unit, run 2-inch piping into a specially installed flow line toward the duplex and connect this line into the appropriate side of the duplex reservoir through the drilled-out dimple. When the gravity units are installed properly and the taps turned on, wastewater will automatically flow from each gravity unit into the 2-inch drain line via the TY connectors and along the line to empty into the reservoir of the duplex unit. The duplex unit will also be installed under a sink and has the capacity to pump wastewater from all units. The installation steps for the duplex and simplex units are identical. Just follow the instructions you've seen earlier on in this video. After making sure all connections are firm and secure, insert strainers into each unit, as well as filtration membranes. It's time to plug in your duplex and test the installation for flow and for leaks. Again, be sure to point out to your customer that the pump will automatically kick on for 20 seconds every hour, even when the Rhino is not in use. As you've just seen, the installation of any Rhino wet waste interceptor, whether standalone, in tandem, or in combination, is a relatively simple task, and it takes only a few hours to complete. In this video, we've illustrated how to install the gravity unit on its own, a pump unit on its own, the gravity unit in combination with a garbage disposal unit, a gravity unit in tandem with a simplex or duplex pump unit, and multiple gravity units with a duplex pump unit. The fact is, the Rhino wet waste interceptor is adaptable to a wide variety of combinations. Any number of combinations can be installed depending on the needs of your customers. Now, before you leave any installation, there are some very important chores you must complete. Make sure you've shown your customers how to maintain their Rhino units. Show them how to insert filtration bags and advise them to keep a chart for 2 weeks, marking down the date and time they change filters. In this way, they'll begin to see and understand a pattern, and they'll be able to set an accurate schedule. Ensure the customer has easy access to the lid in order that filters can be easily changed. Post the Rhino Best Management chart on the wall near the installation. Advise them strongly not to put chemicals through the filtration system or the unit. Hang the Rhino filtration membrane dispenser in an easy-to-reach location. After installation is complete, give the framed Rhino certificate to the owner of the establishment and ask where they'd like it to hang. Before leaving the premises, secure the Rhino decal to the front door in a prominent location so that customers and visitors can easily see it and know they are frequenting an environmentally correct business. Most important of all, leave your business card and insist your customer call you if any problems arise. The Rhino system. Cost-effective, innovative, easy to maintain, and ecologically friendly. Helping your customers to cut down on their cleanup costs while doing the environment a favor.